Welcome to session 2, coming to our senses. Sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, but most of all, about being in our gut. Yep. So sometimes when we find ourselves, suffering a bit of anxiety, and we're in sort of like a heightened state of awareness, it's almost as if our antennae is through the roof into what they call fight, flight, freeze, and please. So with this exercise of coming to our senses, what happens is we're able then to bring that antennae down, going from fight, flight, freeze, or please, into what's called rest and digest. It's about being in the gut. Because you do know what you do, and you do know how to do it. But almost sometimes we get caught up, like the tail wagging the dog. Should I not, will I not, can I not? So through this exercise, what happens is we teach that dog to sit, to stay, and to heel. Yeah. So what I want you to do is I want you to sit upright in your seat, adopting a dignified, upright posture. Yeah. Notice contact with the floor. Your left foot on the floor. The heel, the sole, the toes. Your right foot on the floor, the heel, the sole, the toes. Now bring your attention to your seat. Notice how your seat supports your body, sensing the points of contact between your body and your seat. Back upright, not too tight, not too loose. Lower your shoulders. Head upright, as though you're balancing a book on the crown of your head. Now take a moment to connect with your body, to sense your body. Notice contact with your clothing against your skin. Notice the temperature of your room. Now bring your attention, like the beam of a torch, to your breath, and allow your breath to take center stage. Notice how you breathe. No right way, no wrong way. Notice the quality of your breath. No effort, no adjustment. Now gently guide your attention to your tongue, sensing the taste buds, and allow the tip of your tongue to rest against the roof of your mouth. This relaxes your throat. Now bring your attention to your soundscape. Notice any sounds within the room and expand your field of sound outside of the room. Noticing sound without judging, analyzing, or interpreting. Sounds appear and drift away. If your attention wanders, notice and gently come back to sound. Now bring your attention to your eyes, the eyelids, sense in your eyelids, the eyelids soften, now bring your attention to your breath. Your breath is always present, not a future breath, nor a past breath. Connecting with this breath. Like a wave, rolling onto the shore and returning to the ocean, sensing the ebb and flow of your breath. And in a moment, I'll invite the bell to sound, signaling the end of this practice. So what did you notice? Contact with the seat? And then when I asked you to bring your attention to your tongue, what did you notice? The taste buds? The tip of your tongue? And then when I invited you to bring your attention to sound, what did you notice? The sound of traffic appearing and then fading away. And then when I asked you to bring your attention to your eyes, to the eyelids, what did you notice? So this simple exercise is called coming to our senses. Sight, sound, smell, touch and taste. But most of all, it's about being in our gut. I remember back in 1998, I had the great fortune of being in Kansas City, and I was working with a group of therapists. And my job was to teach the therapists mindfulness practice as a form of self-care. You know, but like if you're on an airplane and the cabin crew says, in the event of the plane going down. Down comes the mask. You put the mask on yourself first before you tend to other passengers. So here I was in Kansas City, working with this group of therapists, and I wondered, how could I introduce mindfulness to these guys as a form of self-care in order for them to take care of themselves, to be better able to take care of other people. So I've never been in Kansas before, but what came to my mind was the Wizard of Oz. So here I was in Kansas City, and I'm sure you've heard of the story of the Wizard of Oz, but I sort of changed it slightly. Instead of going off to see the wizard, they're going off to see a therapist to get fixed. So you know the name of the girl, Dorothy. But where was Dorothy's parents? We know that she was living with her Auntie Em. But you know what? I found out later that the parents were gone. Yep. So here was young Dorothy, wanting to be with her parents, but was staying with her Auntie Em. What a stressful situation. Yep. So what happens when we're under a lot of stress is we take leave of our senses. And whenever we take leave of our senses, we start to tell ourselves stories. Just like a little boy whistling in the dark. So of course the story that Dorothy told herself was the yellow brick road. So here she was in the yellow brick road. This was her fantasy. And the first person she met was me, and I'm the lion. Put up your doots, put up your doots, put up your doots, put up your doots. Dorothy goes boo, and I burst into tears. What's a lion doing crying? She asks. And I tell her that I've no courage. I says, what are you doing here? And she says, I want to be home. So I play with my whiskers, as all good lions do. And I said, I've heard of a therapist who could fix this. Really, she said. Yes, said I. So off we went along the yellow brick road. And as we continued along the yellow brick road, we met the straw man looking for a brain and the tin man looking for a heart. We told those guys, join the gang, we're going off to see the therapist in order to get fixed. And as we continued along the yellow brick road, me, the lion, I carried out courageous acts. The straw man did a lot of thinking and solved a lot of problems. And the tin man demonstrated biggest heart known to humanity. Eventually, we got to see the therapist, and she was able to tell me, look, what I was looking for, I already had, that I was courageous. The straw man had a great brain, and of course, when it came to the tin man, he had the biggest heart known to humanity. Then the therapist turned to Dorothy and pointed to Dorothy's feet. Do you remember the red shoes? And she said to click her heels and say, there's no place like home, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. So Dorothy clicked her heels and said, there's no place like home, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. And then she found herself back home again. So what I told her good friends and therapists in Kansas City was that wherever my feet are is where you'll find Frankie. But my mind could be time traveling off to the future or ruminating about the past. Yep. So our exercise today about coming to our senses is about bringing the mind home. Sight, sound, smell, touch and taste, but most of all about being in our gut, right here, right now. So we're coming to the end of session 2, and I'd like to recite a poem. This is a beautiful poem by a local man called Brendan Keneally, and the poem is called Begin. Begin again to the summoning birds, to the sight of light at the window. Begin to the roar of morning traffic all along Pembroke Road. Every beginning is a promise, born in light and dying in dark, determination and exaltation of springtime flowering away to work. Begin to the pageant of queuing girls, the arrogant loneliness of swans in the canal, bridges linking the past and future, old friends passing though with us still. Begin to the loneliness that cannot end, since it perhaps is what makes us begin. Begin to wonder at unknown faces, at crying birds in the sudden rain, at branches stark in the willing sunlight, at seagulls foraging for bread, at couples sharing a sunny secret, alone together while making good, though we live in a world that dreams of ending, that always seems about to give in. Something that will not acknowledge conclusion insists that we forever begin.